You've probably heard the term reverse proxy thrown around, right? But what is it really? Well, it turns out it's one of the most important yet totally invisible pieces of technology that makes the modern web what it is today: fast, secure, and reliable. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this essential gatekeeper of the internet.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll break down what a reverse proxy is with a super simple analogy. Then, we'll get into why it's called reverse in the first place by comparing it to a forward proxy. After that, we'll follow the journey of a single web request, uncover the proxy's amazing superpowers, and finally, check out some real-world examples you're definitely using every single day. All right, so to really get our heads around what a reverse proxy does, let's just forget about servers and IP addresses for a second. We're going to start with something way more familiar.
I want you to picture a big, busy company office. You can't just walk in and wander around, right? No way. You have to go to the front desk. That receptionist is your single point of contact. They handle security, they direct you to the right department, and maybe they even answer some simple questions for you. A reverse proxy? It's exactly that, but for a website's servers.
See, without a proxy, your computer connects directly to a website's application server. It works, sure, but it's also kind of vulnerable and not very efficient. But when you put a reverse proxy in the middle, you talk to the proxy, and only the proxy talks to the backend servers. This one simple change is what unlocks a whole world of possibilities.
So, why the word reverse? Well, it kind of implies there must be a forward, doesn't it? And you'd be exactly right. Understanding the difference between them is the key to all of this.
Okay, think of it this way. A forward proxy, like a VPN you might use, sits in front of you, the user. Its job is to protect your identity from the websites you visit. A reverse proxy, on the other hand, sits in front of the web servers. Its job is to protect them. You, as the user, have absolutely no idea you're even talking to one. So, one protects the person asking, and the other protects the person answered.
So we know what it is, and we know why it's called reverse. But what's actually happening under the hood when you click a link or type in a URL? Let's trace the journey of a single request through this whole system. So when you go to a website, your request doesn't go straight to the server that has the website on it. Nope. It hits the reverse proxy first. The proxy then acts like this super smart dispatcher. It looks at the request and checks its rulebook. Does this go to server A or server B? Hey, wait, is this something I already have saved? Once it figures out the plan, it forwards your request along. Then the backend server sends its response back to the proxy, which neatly hands it over to you. And you never knew any of that happened. Okay, now we get to the really exciting part. You know, putting a server in front of your other servers might just sound like an extra, unnecessary step, but trust me, this is where the magic happens. This middleman has some absolutely incredible superpowers.
First up, load balancing. Just imagine it's Black Friday on a site like Amazon. Millions of requests are flooding in every single second. A single server would just melt. It couldn't handle it. A reverse proxy acts like a traffic cop, intelligently spreading all that traffic across a whole fleet of servers. This makes sure no single one gets overwhelmed and the site actually stays online for you to use.
Next up, security. And this is huge. Because you only ever talk to the proxy, the real IP addresses of the backend servers are completely hidden from the public internet. It's like having an unlisted phone number for your house. This is the whole principle behind services like Cloudflare. They use this to absorb massive cyber attacks, acting like a giant shield so the real servers never even feel a thing. Superpower number 3 is all about speed, and it's done through something called caching. Let's go back to our receptionist. If everybody who walks in asks for the same company brochure, the receptionist isn't going to run back to the marketing department every single time, right? Of course not. They'll keep a stack of them right at the front desk. A reverse proxy does the exact same thing with stuff like images, logos, and style sheets. It delivers them instantly from its memory, or cache. This makes the site feel lightning fast for you and can actually cut traffic to the main servers by more than half, letting them focus on the really heavy lifting. All right, this one's a little more technical, but it is incredibly important for performance. You know that little padlock you see in your browser? That means your connection is encrypted, which is great for security. But that encryption takes a lot of computing power. A reverse proxy can handle all of that heavy lifting, a process called SSL termination, right at the front door. This frees up the backend servers to communicate with each other using faster, unencrypted connections, which boosts the whole system's performance.
And finally, we have smart routing. You see, a modern website isn't just one big application anymore. It's often a whole collection of smaller, different services working together.
The reverse proxy can look at the URL you're requesting and make a smart decision about where to send it. For instance, anything for API might go to the main backend servers, while a request for images could go to a completely different system that's just for storing files. It makes a really complex system look simple and unified to the outside world.
So the theory is cool and all, but what does this actually look like in practice? Let's take a look at some of the tools and services that are putting these superpowers to work every single day all across the web.
Cloudflare is a perfect example of a global reverse proxy service. When a website uses Cloudflare, they're basically putting Cloudflare's massive worldwide network of servers in front of their own. They provide that security shield, they provide that global caching for incredible speed, and they hide the server's true location from any potential attackers.
Here's another classic scenario. Let's say you've got a modern web app. The visual part that you interact with, the front end, it runs on one server. But the part that crunches all the data, the backend API, that runs on a completely different server. So how do you make them both appear under one single domain name? Well, you use a reverse proxy like Nginx to direct the traffic. And this right here is basically the instruction manual for the proxy. Now don't worry about the specific code. What's crucial is what it's saying. It's a simple set of rules. It tells Nginx, hey, when a request comes in for the main site, send it over to the app running on port 3000. But if the URL has /API in it, send that one to the other app on port 5000 instead. That's the smart routing superpower in action, right there in the real world. So let's wrap it all up. The reverse proxy is truly the invisible workhorse of the web. It's that receptionist sitting right in front of the backend servers. It balances the load, it improves speed with caching, it provides a crucial layer of security, and it hides all the internal complexity from you, the user. And the powerhouses that make this all possible are tools like Nginx, Cloudflare, and Amazon's Elastic Load Balancer.
I mean, it's this fundamental building block that you interact with dozens, maybe even hundreds of times a day without ever even knowing it's there. So the next time your favorite site is just working perfectly, it's fast, it's reliable, it's secure, maybe you'll give a little nod to its invisible gatekeeper, the humble reverse proxy, the true unsung hero of the modern internet.